Okay, what's up? This is my podcast. I'm calling it Rep and Reflect. Smart. I'm Jillian, and I'm joined with. Introduce yourself.
Samantha, Farinella. I am an assistant professor at the Academy of Creative Media at UHS Oahu. I'm also a filmmaker, and I am a gym enthusiast.
Gym enthusiast. Yeah. So this is where we gossip and gag about gym shit, I guess. So I guess we'll start with like, how often would you say you go to the gym?
I guess I used to go like 6-7 days a week. Now I probably go 3-4, and I swim. I try to swim 5 to 7 days a week.
And you like go to like a public gym, or you
Yes,
gym at home?
Well, it's funny because when we first moved here, my partner Tasha is a physical therapist, so she has a gym. Mm-hmm. And with COVID and stuff, we were just like working out after hours at her place, which was awesome because then we could be like, not have to worry, and it's just nice having the thing to yourself. I would have kept doing that, but Tasha wanted to like branch out and use like different equipment and stuff. Yeah. So we just got 24. They had like a sale.
24 is icky though.
Oh God. Yeah.
I don't like 24s.
Yeah, a friend of mine got MRSA 3 times there at this particular gym. It's definitely not clean, but it has a lot of equipment.
The one in town?
Yes, on Capulin.
So, yeah, a lot of my friends go there too, but they hate it. I feel like there's just a stigma that like 24 sucks.
I think it's better than Planet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like Planet is I feel like their equipment is very cheap, and at least 24 is janky and has old equipment, but it's like hoist and it's got all the stuff that we need, you know, like to lift.
Planet Fitness is kind of like limited.
To me, that's better if you're cardio or something. I don't know. Like if you want to lift different.
Yeah.
I agree with you, by the way.
Yeah. I go to the Crocs, so like it's the one by West Oahu.
Oh, I don't think I even know this gym too.
It's Salvation Army, but it's really good. Like nobody really goes there.
Really?
Yeah. So I see, you know, Angelina.
Yeah.
She goes there.
Oh,
I see her in the morning.
Really?
Sometimes. Yeah.
I didn't even know she lifted.
Yeah. Well, I think she's starting to.
Good.
So converting people, you know.
Yeah, you got
to. But would you say like going to 24 is that you notice gym culture? Like.
Yeah, I mean, I think because I was like I used to when I was in New York, I always went to the gym, and Tasha and I splurged like during COVID. There was a sale, and we went to a place called Chelsea Piers. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. No. So basically, in New York, there's like these big pier warehouses, okay, and this gym was the entire warehouse, and it was like you would go there and just like see like major athletes. It was like nuts. So we're both gym rats, and I'm used to the gym. But then living in Hawaii, almost 4 years now, I hadn't been to the gym until recently. So, yeah, you know, there's definitely a culture. You see the same people over and over again. Yeah. It was funny at first. I kind of felt weird. And this is more a political thing, but you know, like Joe Rogan and like all these kind of muscle heads who are now all like pro-Trumpers. Yeah. And I was like, as a lesbian, is this going to be weird? But it wasn't. It's everybody's like doing their thing. There's old ladies, there's young guys.
You know what's funny? This morning I was working out and someone took the bench next to me. He was wearing a Trump shirt. Oh.
You know what? I haven't seen that yet. I'm so glad I haven't.
I haven't seen it until like I've seen him before.
Yeah.
But that's the first time. Like that's the first person I was just like.
Yeah, it just sucks.
Because my gym partner is also like lesbian, and she's like, "Oh man, this brother stinks." Like.
I just feel like at the gym, you shouldn't say anything. Like, I have this shirt that I wear that says just abortion on it, but it looks like a university, so it's just like abortion. Yeah. But I never wear that kind of stuff at a public place because it's like, we're just there to work out. I don't want to, like, so when people do that, and especially Trumpers, they're so antagonistic. It's like they want to stir up the pot. Yeah. I just feel like right now, how can you even wear that shirt? Because it's like embarrassing. But anyway, I just like, what happened to the price of eggs? Anyway.
I guess like another fair question is like, what exactly would you describe? Like, what is gym culture?
That's a good question. I think gym culture is that everybody that goes to the gym is there to be disciplined and to like work on your body. Yeah. And it's a lot of times it's to get stronger. Some people it's to get thinner. Yeah. But I think for the most part, people want to be strong. They want to be in shape. That it's a culture of, I think both that consistency of doing something and trying to look good and be fit. I think,
And so toxic gym culture is probably where it gets to like more ego. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think, you know, I'm going to say this about gym culture. I think there's always been an issue with it. I think for men and women. I think because we live in a patriarchy, it's worse for women.
Right.
And I think that, like, Tasha she used to be a personal trainer, right? So that's my partner. I don't know if I said that. But anyway, she basically said that so many women were like, I don't want to get big. I don't want to get big. And she's like, shut up. And just like, you're not going to get that big. First of all, just like lift, you know? But I think that kind of thing is just the antithesis of like what we're into, because I really do want to be strong. Like,
right.
I want to be able to lift myself up if I need to. Like,
I think I feel like almost every girl starts that way, is like, I want to be thin.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my friends, like, that I talk to, like, their gym journey starts with, like, I just do cardio because I want to lose weight. Right. And now we look at ourselves and it's like, we're, like, mid-bulk, eating 170 grams of protein, like, till I throw up.
Yeah.
So.
It changes once you're in it. I think for me, it's like the bench. For some reason, it's like the lifting of that. You just feel good after. And that's my go-to. I'm always like, Tasha's always like, you're always like, I run to the bench. But there's something about strength that I really am into.
I think that too, like, is where I maybe fall to like toxic gym culture mentality, is like, I'm afraid to bench because I keep hearing from people, like, makes your boobs smaller. But it's like, why should I care about, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like,
I wouldn't worry about that. I think there's so many false things in gym culture too. Like, I know a lot of dudes who don't want to drink soy because they think it makes them have estrogen. It's like, come on, dude. Like, you have to like
I've
inject.
Never heard of that.
Yeah. So it's like there's all these like kind of, I don't want to say wives' tales. I don't know what you call it, but just things
like
myths that really aren't true.
That's like another thing is like, I think with like TikTok now, I follow this guy. He's called the BBL detector or whatever, because like his whole thing is like he'll like review like women's like workout routines, like who are like trying to sell programs, be like, oh, to get a big butt, do this, and he's like, well, she already has a BBL, so like.
Yeah.
So
no, I think that's with a lot of things. Almost everything in gym culture, you're learning from somebody that's already an athlete. So it's a little hard, you know.
Right.
When I was younger, I used to do a lot of videos. So like, I don't know if you've heard of Billy Blanks, like this old like 1990 shit.
No.
PX90, you might know
PX90, yeah.
Yes.
Or Jillian Michaels.
Yep.
That's what I was named after.
Really?
My grandma loves Jillian Michaels.
That's awesome. And then there was this thing, you probably don't know her. She's like from Jersey, Kathy Friedrich.
I've heard that name, but I don't.
She had some good routines. Like, she would get in it. You know what I mean? She would do a lot. But my mom and I were into that together, so it was something we did.
Right. So like, even people who like, you go to the gym and you like learn all these things.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily like certified, but I think when you see someone who has like a good physique and they're giving you advice, it's like you kind of are like, okay, I should take this.
Right.
But it's like, you never know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people talk shit.
Yes.
It's like,
No. I mean, the thing is, Tasha, when she was a personal trainer, she was called the Queen of Form. She was like, no, I'm sorry, the Form Nazi is what she was called. And she's really big on form. And it's funny because when she did, even now, like even today she did, she's like, put your back up, you're like doing this, like go like that. And when you do that with form, you tend to lift less.
Yeah.
Because when your form is the right way, you are like lifting a little bit less.
Right.
And I think people get weird about that, but it is really important because when you have the good form, you don't get injured as much.
Yeah, and you're hitting the right stuff you're supposed to be hitting.
Exactly.
Speaking of form, like last week, I was doing shoulder press and I wanted to go up, and I asked someone to spot me, and he's like a worker, but like we talk a lot. Okay. And so he was like, you have to go like lower. But I can't go lower because I have a bad shoulder. Yeah. So I told him that, and he's like, well, I'd be a bad friend if I didn't correct you on your form. And I was like, okay. And he's like, and almost everything you do, your form is shit. And I was like,
he said that?
Yeah. And so I told my gym partner when she like came over, and she was like, I think he just wants a reason to talk to you. Yeah. So like,
but what he said was really messed up though, because that can make you insecure, and that can make you think. People are weird.
Well, there's one, like, a way to go about it.
Yeah.
And it's two, like, raises another question of, like, people approaching you at the gym.
I was going to say, there was mansplaining. There's also, like, attraction and all, you know, there's a lot of stuff that shouldn't really go into this because people do get injured, right?
Yeah.
And then when you're injured, how much does that set you back?
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times Tasha usually, she works on stuff that isn't like the show muscles. Like a lot of times you have muscles that are in your forearm or this that you need to build in order to do the other stuff. And I think that, you know, it's stuff like that. It's like you have to kind of be precise. And I think a lot of people, especially dudes, they can get bulk up quickly because they don't have as much body fat. So it's like this, you know, and they're young, so they can do shit, fuck themselves up. Sorry, and then
no, you're good.
Okay,
but even that, but like, just even being able to grip stuff, like there's certain muscles that like you need to have better grip.
Do you know about the grip shit? Like, so we were talking about this I think before the cameras, but I've been hanging a lot more now. And, you know, you can see them. It's getting there, yeah. But it's just like today, I took a week off because I went to San Francisco. I came back and I can like hardly fucking hang now. And it's not the strength as much as it is like the grip. Pain, the grip. It's like, oh, and the thing about working out is like, you lose so much if you don't do it.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I was talking to one of my friends and he was like deadlifting and he was saying like, talking trash about like these kids who are like using like wrist straps.
Oh,
And he's like, well, if you have to use straps, you're, like, something about, like, you can't, like, live.
See, but that's toxic masculinity bullshit. You know, I feel like, do what you have to do it correctly. Like, you know, especially if you're doing this stuff, by the age of 25, you might be getting injured, like, honestly. And it's like, you have to do corrections. Like, I used to wear, you know, I have a short ulna, so I've stopped doing push-ups because I get really bad pain.
Right.
But if I don't do that, I can do a chest press fine, just like that weight, I think, on it. So, like, I modify. But am I, like, an asshole because I do that? I mean, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, I think there is still a lot of, like, toxic masculinity guy culture in gym, which isn't good. Whether that's either telling you your form is shit or whatever.
Right.
You know, it's like you would go about it a different way.
Or, like, even, like, grabbing like, if I'm trying to grab, like, 100-pound dumbbell and do a set, you think my tiny little wrists can hold? Obviously, I'm going to use a strap to, like, help me to maximize the amount of lifting I can do.
Yeah. And if you do it the right way, you're going to be doing it longer than that dude.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's, you know.
Yeah. So I told him, shut up and use some wrist straps and you can probably lift heavier, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I remember once I got unsolicited advice and it was good. I was doing the cable thing, and I was doing something.
Oh yeah, the rows.
The rows, and I was doing something a little weird, and he just was so pissed at me. He's like, "No, you do this. Make sure your back's straight. You do that, you know." But he was right, and I still do it to that day. And you know, that was good advice. But he was like really nasty the way he said it to me.
Like the way you go about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's people with insecurity that want to feel that they know everything.
Yeah.
But if you ever want to do form, I mean, my partner is a former Nazi. If you ever want to, like, if you think you're not right, we can have a session or something.
Okay, yeah. Because there's this man that I work, like, I see him all the time, and he's, like, Secret Services, or he was in Afghanistan. So he, I already, like, I don't know, but I think he knows his shit. Yeah. But, like, he's super nice all the time. Like, he won't correct you unless you ask him.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like,
you get your advice from him sometimes. Like, you feel comfortable.
Yeah, because it's like, he looks like what you would think a toxic masculinity person looks like.
But he's not.
No, he's super nice.
I'm sure that Trump guy wouldn't get advice from him.
No. But he gardens in his free time. Like, that's how you, so.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Big teddy bear?
Yeah, pretty much. So, do you take, like, creatine, like, supplements or anything?
You know, again, I'm talking about my partner a lot. Sorry, Tosh. But I used to take, it was called Spiritine. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one.
No.
It was like a multivitamin plus.
Creatine?
It wasn't creatine. It was like, I believe it was some sort of it was like the vegetarian proteins.
Oh.
I took that stuff.
Okay.
And Tasha was like, you don't know what that shit does. I would stay off of that and just eat, like, protein.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a better way to do it because this shit you're probably getting cancer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't really listen to her, and I still did it. But then there was a point where I was like, let me just try. And I do, like, when I make I just made a smoothie yesterday. I'll put tofu straight in. I'll put, yogurt straight in. I try not to do the powders anymore. I do some bars once in a while. Like if I'm in a pinch, I'll get a protein bar. but I try less. And again, like I used to want to bulk more, and now I just kind of want to be a little more wiry. I guess as I get, you know.
Do you think there's like a negative, not stigma, but like false information like around like supplements and stuff, like
100%.
who should take creatine and like this and this?
I don't think our FDA is not great. Forget it now because there's nobody in charge of anything. That's gonna know shit. It's a lot of ways a lot of ways are gimmicky.
Yeah.
I think that we don't know what this stuff is going to do to you. I think it's highly processed. I don't know how that intake is for things. I'm sure these things do bulk you up. I'm not saying they don't. But I think in the long term, we don't know what this kind of stuff does. And I'm more of a natural person, so.
Yeah, me too. The only like real supplement I take is like super greens.
Oh yeah, but you love super greens. Yeah, I think that too.
Cause like a lot of my friends that do like OxyShred and stuff like that, it's like, oh, like I see it on TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok is like the worst. You know, it's like everybody's selling something. So, you know, it's the thing is like when it comes to like aging and body, I even think even this collagen shit, like I feel like we're relying on things too much.
Yeah.
And I think it's more of a placebo, to be honest with you. I think when you take the creatine, then you're like, oh, I'm going to do this. And you're like, oh, but
and then you think you look bigger.
Right. But you're actually bigger because you're probably working out more. You probably have caffeine in you.
Yeah.
Right?
True. Or it's just water. Like,
isn't
that the whole point? Creatine's just like putting water into yourself, which is like, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like crazy levels of protein that you do not need.
Yeah.
You know, like people get a little bit psycho with the protein. Like, you need protein, absolutely 100%.
But too much of it is unnecessary.
And I think having it naturally, whether you eat chicken or whether you know, whatever you're eating, soy, beet, whatever the hell, the way you get it. Because I've seen vegans now that are like jacked, you know what I mean?
Yeah, one of the girls that works out, like she's vegan, and she's always trying to get us to eat her vegan stuff. And it's like, I don't even know, like protein pasta with, or like vegan pasta with like noodles.
Oh, that kind of
stuff. Or not noodles, with like mayo or something. I was like, this looks disgusting.
Yeah.
But
well, I think what I do is rice and beans are always a good one. Like a bean and a rice, because beans have a lot of protein, but they don't have it if you just eat them. You have to have a carb with it, and then you eat it together, and then it works. I also love, tofu is pretty big in protein. So I do tofu, and I do still eat fish.
So pescatarian.
Definitely, yeah.
Fish is good for.
Yeah, it's lean.
Yeah.
It's protein and lean.
Yeah.
I know people eat like sardines and shit, you know, cracker. I don't know about all that.
No, that sounds so gross. Ugh.
I did it on a boat once in Alaska, but I was starving, so it was great. But I don't know, like on the daily, I would do that.
But back to like the OxyShred and stuff.
Yeah. Dangerous. That's my opinion.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people get it because it's like, oh, they see it on TikTok. But then it's like, thinking about it, these influencers are really only selling it because they're getting paid to sell it.
Exactly.
They probably don't even take it themselves. And so it's like, opens up that question of like, what should you believe and what shouldn't you believe on the internet? And like, how do you know what I mean?
I think that, I'm going to be like kind of cynical, but I think everything, if they're selling you something, it's probably not great, especially like if they're selling you like a hoodie or like a cat couch, who gives a shit? Like, it's fine. But if they're selling you stuff to ingest in your body that's going to make you a different way, I think that's dangerous. I think that we don't know how our bodies react to things, and I think that there's a term, right? Snake oil. And I think that is a really good term. These guys used to come into town, have all these kind of different things for ailments, and then they leave, and then everybody buy them, and then it was all
fucked up.
Fake. Yeah. So I think a lot of the stuff is snake oil. I think that natural is better. Yeah. I think that people are looking for quick fixes. Okay, so they want to get big fast, and they want to do this. But the thing is in life is that when you do it the right way, yes, it's slower, but it's you.
And I feel like it's long lasting.
Exactly.
Because when you like, even with steroids, like once you take steroids, it's like, you get bigger faster, but then once you're off steroids, it's like, what happens?
That's the thing. It's the same thing as like Botox and all this stuff that women do to their faces. It's like when they stop, it's going to get worse. Your face is going to look worse. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or things like that.
And that, I feel like, contributes to like body dysmorphia.
100%. Like, if you look at people in LA, almost every woman after 22
has work done.
Yeah. How fucking scary is that? Like, why can't we just be natural? Like every other animal kingdom, right? the dude that looks like all fancy. You got the feathers, the
Not
plumes.
with us.
Yeah, the lion, the mane.
Yeah.
It's like the man is like working it. And this one, it's like there's some like fat dude with a shaved head, and all these women are trying to like get pretty for him. Like, what are you doing? Like, so anyway, I feel like there is so much between toxic masculinity, between patriarchy, capitalism. There's so many like landmines that you kind of have to avoid.
Right.
And I don't just mean that for women. I think that toxic masculinity and patriarchy is fucked up for men too, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So it's a weird situation, but I think that people need to trust themselves and just go about things slower, and do it more naturally.
Yeah.
I think we're all obsessed with speed. Like, let's get in shape really fast, and let's get big really fast, or let's lose weight really fast.
Yeah.
How much of that actually lasts? Does it last a summer, a year? And
I think
then
it's also like, especially now, I feel like people's like attention span is like, or you know what I mean?
Oh.
It's so short.
Yeah, like I think about, because I'm an old lady, right? I'm 54, so I've seen this advent of internet before and after, and I think that there's always a more, to lift weights and to do what we do, we're a little bit more obsessed with our bodies. Not like we're just like looking at them and doing certain things to them, but in the advent of Instagram and TikTok, we're all narcissists now, right? Even if you're not lifting, you're a narcissist because you're just looking and making sure you're perfect.
Yeah.
And I think on top of patriarchy and on top of like sexism and on top of all this stuff, it's really, really damaging.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like social media definitely makes things worse in every way.
Every fucking way.
Because it's like, even if you're not comparing yourself to like these models, blah, blah, you're still comparing yourself to someone, I feel like.
And I think I was just having this conversation with Tasha at breakfast. It's like, there was this woman named Barbara Walters. You probably don't even fucking know her. Don't worry about it. You know Oprah, though?
Yes.
Okay. So Oprah used to have these interviews with all the famous people, and everybody would watch like Tom Cruise like dance on a couch or whatever the fuck was going on.
Right.
Before her was this woman named Barbara Walters, and she would have these big interviews. And we were talking about this because you probably don't know this, but 007 was a guy named Sean Connery. He was the OG.
Yeah.
And he talked about it was okay to hit your wife open-handed if she, and it was like, it's crazy. And Tasha didn't believe me, so I like looked it up today. And that is the beauty of the internet. You can find everything really fast. So anyway, we're having this conversation, but it was like every American would like look to something to see their media or see their news, right? So we all knew Barbara Walters, we all knew Oprah. And now it's like you could just be in a vacuum of fitness or vacuum of like Joe Rogan, whoever the fuck, right? And not know the rest of the world.
The algorithm, right?
Yeah, and that's what's scary. So if you're only seeing these people that are totally about like body image or looks, and you don't even know there's somebody else out there saying something that might be cool, but you're not even getting that because it's a different, it's weird. I don't think it's sustainable for humans. I think humans, the way we live, and I think that's a good thing about gym culture, is we're interacting with people a lot of times. And sometimes you just got your thing on, you're doing it, but I think we are meant to have group mentality, and we're meant to like get along with people and see people like the whites of our eyes. The reason that we have that is because it can show more emotion, where other creatures don't have white because you can't see. There's all like weird scientific shit. I'm media, so I don't know all this, but I just feel like the polarization we're seeing too, right? We were talking about the Trump guy or whatever, and it's like we just need to kind of, as a society, start to listen to each other and get in groups again. We even know with our school, right? It's like there's not a lot of group thing going on. So we need to get back to that.
I think that is like a good thing. Like, there's a lot of bad things that can come out of gym culture, but I think that's one of the good things is like, I feel like you make like really good bonds with people because you already know you're there for like the same interest, and you're there for most of the time the same goal. It's like you're there to like put your body through hell to get to a certain goal. Everyone's struggling and suffering together.
And we all see that. Even I did Chinese line dance for a while.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
you talked about that.
Yeah, I don't do it anymore. My partner was doing it longer than I was. But anyway, we did it for a while. And I was just going to bring up the thing. There's this guy that was definitely like kind of a Trumper. He didn't have a Trump shirt, but he was definitely like a Trump guy.
That vibe.
Get the vibe. He had like a shirt that said like God and then under it One Nation. He was just like, I don't know. He had some ideas that weren't my ideas,
Okay,
but we
yeah.
all got together and we all did this together, and we like struggled, whether it was like drumming and moving around, and he had kids there, so he would like help move the stuff. And it was really cool because it's like when you get together and there's like the gym, when you see people, it shouldn't matter what your politics are,
Right.
you know? And that's the
Yeah.
thing, it's like, there's the good people out there on both sides, man. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter, but it's like when you have these silos and you're only listening to like Andrew fucking Tate or some fucking psycho,
Yeah.
you're not gonna
Yeah.
like see the world in the right way.
Right.
And I think that, and I know it sounds crazy, but like when Trump calls like people who are Democrats vermin, that's what Hitler said. Like, you know, it's
Right.
like you don't want to do that to people. We all have more in common than we don't.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think gym culture is great for that, because you can
Yeah.
have somebody like help bench you, and they might not be your politics, but they're helping you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm rambling about, but
No, like, I get it, because even though, like, oh, it's like, I'm giving shit because it's like, oh, he's wearing a Trump shirt.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, he's still there
Yeah.
at the gym every day,
Yeah.
consistent, working hard.
Yeah,
And
you have to
respect, yeah.
respect things.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's. But when you're just listening to this one group or this one thing, will you look at somebody not as human? And I think that's
Right.
the hard part. You know.
Yeah.
But that's gym culture. Hopefully, keeps people a little more fresh, stable.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, then we talked about. I know you brought this up before, but then there's the things like creatine, but then higher levels like roids and stuff. Like
Right, yeah.
what's that? I've never been in that situation. I had a good friend of mine who was my boss at Nickelodeon, and then he was my PA when I went to Alaska to shoot a film. We were like really close. He looks like a superhero. He's like just a big, strong, kind of hot dude who's gay, and he was like closeted, but now he's like out. But he did roids for a while, and he said he went to a deli once, and somebody had like cut the line, and he remembers feeling like he wanted to kill that person.
Oh,
and he
because
could.
it affects, like,
Yeah.
your hormones and stuff.
And that's when he knew he had to like lay off of it. So it's scary, you know what I mean?
Right. Would you say it's okay to judge people who, like, take steroids? Or you think it's something that, like...
I judge everyone.
Yeah. That's what I think at the gym, too, is, like, I talk about, like, oh, gym culture should be this and that. But at the end of the day, like, I'm still judging everyone.
Of course. Yeah. I definitely judge people. I judge people about like a million different things, you know? Like, yeah, if you leave the fucking seat all sweaty, like fucking clean that shit up, you know? I don't know if judging is the right word, but it's definitely like, when someone is taking that, it's not good for them in any capacity. So, and that could make people violent. So
Right.
I think there is a slight bit of judgment, it's
Out of concern.
out of concern.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I'm better than you
Yeah.
or anything like that. It's just
like,
more like,
Why would you do that?
yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing as the Botox we were talking about, or any kind of the way women change their bodies. It's the same thing, when men do it to change their bodies.
Right.
But again, it's not going to last. None of that
Yeah.
shit's going to last.
I think that's where, like, the judging comes from, just
Yeah.
with the Botox thing, because I feel like I wouldn't say, like, I think I'm better than people that, like, do that, but it's like, I think it's more like, why would you do that, you know?
I'm angry. I get angry about it.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
a woman, because I feel like,
This goes against what we're trying to, like, say about, like,
Exact-
body positivity, and then you're just contributing to that.
Exactly.
But then people do say, like, oh, well, body positivity, if I want to do this, then that should be, like, that's what I want to do. But it's like,
it's a hard fine
But
line.
why do you wanna do it?
Because
Yeah.
we're not talking about like, it's gonna sound weird, but like, there was before Billie Eilish, it was like the fucking early 2000s where like you could wear baggy clothes and
Right.
as a woman and feel okay. And then like as soon as Britney Spears took off, literally everything became hypersexualized, even
Right.
for young girls.
right.
I'm not into that. I mean, I think that sexualization of young people is
weird.
Yeah, men or
Yeah.
women. I don't think it's cool.
Yeah.
So there's shit like that, right? But I do think that when you're transforming your body, what's the reason, right? So there's, like, if you want to go into the trans movement, like if you don't feel that you're in the right body, that's one thing, and that's like different, right?
Right.
And I've seen people who were one sex and then changed, and they are like a different person. They feel better, and that's like different.
Yeah.
But if you're just shooting yourself up to look younger or to look pretty for what is that aesthetic,
Yeah.
right? Like you don't want to change your sex or anything, but you
Yeah.
want to like look fuckable.
Right.
I guess that's the bottom line.
Because
you know,
the beauty standard is always changing.
it's always changing. But what it doesn't change, Jillian, is fucking youth.
Right.
And I get a little bit weird about that because I think that. Sorry if I'm gonna get gross right now, but
No, you're
I
good.
think a lot of men are into like prepubescent women.
No, yeah.
And that's when it gets like creepster.
Yeah. There was like, I'll have to like look up where I saw this, but there was like, not a study, but someone had told me like a lot of men like do prefer like when women do like wear pigtails and like have bracelets, like look younger. And it's just like really weird.
Yeah, like the Japanese culture used to be like the
Yeah.
school girl outfits and like. Yeah, I mean we all have our kink, right? But I feel like that's kind of a constant.
Yeah.
And I think it's also about like men wanting to feel smarter and be with somebody that isn't superior.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm gonna be straight up like I usually like younger women.
Right.
It's not about that. It's just that I like youth. Like people don't think I'm 54 usually just because of my energy, not my looks. But I like energy. I'm not into talking about like homes or curtains or kids. Like I kind of like things.
Yeah.
But it's never about like that. And I think we can all date who we want and, you know, it could, any ages. I don't really care about
the
that.
intention behind it.
Yeah, but when it's the sexualization of people younger, I have a very big problem with that.
Yeah, no.
You know?
That's why, like, especially, I don't know if you watched that documentary with Drake Bell?
No.
So, you know who Drake Bell is, right?
Yeah.
It was like that Nickelodeon about, like, a documentary about Dan Schneider.
Oh, I heard about this. I didn't see it.
You should watch the one with Drake Bell. Oh my God, like, because then it makes you realize it's not just women.
No. In that field, so many boys have gotten molested.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just youth. I mean, if you look at religions, if you look at the Catholic religion, like when a priest is molesting somebody in a district, they will not excommunicate that priest. They will move him to another district.
Right.
I mean, there's a movie called, I think it's See No Evil. You should look. It's a documentary. I think it's either See No Evil or Speak No Evil, and it's about this one priest who molested over 1,000 kids because they just kept popping him to different congregations. And you can see it also in what do you call them? Evangelical Christian movement. They had this big convention, and there were people saying like, we need to talk about this, like the abuse of children. There's something about. I think that's what's scary too. Is like religion, sports, the gym team. You know, there's a lot of places where. You know, men will molest children, and we have to be careful.
And that kind of goes into like the gym, like sports and stuff like that. Is like a lot of people don't talk about that kind of stuff because I feel like it'd be wrong to say like, oh, it's not as bad now, but I feel like it's maybe not as talked about now. But I remember like when I was younger, like hearing about that a lot, like gym teachers or coaches or whatever being like weirdos.
Yeah. It's a thing that any group that's around children, it's annoying because they have an authority. People love coaches, you know, parents, and same thing with priests or ministers, right? So it's these certain groups that, and they're also slightly more conservative. So it's like people don't speak out as much. It's like it's a real messed up thing. I have a big issue with it. When I was in Alaska and I made the film about Alaskan vets, you know, Alaskan culture, just like Hawaiian culture, you know, got decimated by Christians, and they would force children to go into these schools where they were abused. And it's just something that we have to always kind of, until we get out of patriarchy, it's just something that's always there.
Something to think about.
It's thinking about, and also think about why is that such an apex that people always want to look young, or, you know, like these crazy, I mean, Elon Musk and Bezos, like they want to go into, they're investing their money in space and life extension. That's the two things they're spending all their money on, like all their billions on life extension, and it's like, chill with these shit. You know, we have our time.
No one wants to live after 60 anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Come on, people.
But going back to like, cause you mentioned like baggy clothing.
We're getting deep and shit.
I know you're good, but like you mentioned baggy clothing because I like specifically remember like this was right before like Billie Eilish like, or I think this was like right when she got big. Yeah. And like, cause I like to wear baggy clothing. Too, like, it's comfortable. Yeah. I remember like you know, like you get a nice fit, you feel fitted up. And one of my friends is like, you look like a butch.
Right.
But like, why is that a bad thing?
Right.
And like, why even say that? You know what I mean?
I think again, I want to go back to like the lions and the fish. It's like this sex appeal to heterosexual men or sex appeal to men, right? Because in the gay male culture, it's equally as bad. You have to look a certain way, right? I think what's worse about heterosexual culture is that sometimes the men don't look that great. Like, you know, like women go above and beyond, and sometimes the dudes are like, can you get on a treadmill? But
like you hear that like thing where it's like the prettiest girls date the ugliest men, or something like that.
Yeah. And I think, but anyway, I think women have got to. It's easier for me to say this because I grew up with a mom who was very let me do anything. So I wanted to be a Green Beret. She gave me I wanted to be a ninja. I've always been a weird kid, right? And I always was a boy, like a lot like boy stuff. But I'm not trans. I love that I'm a woman. Yeah, I'm a tomboy. But I always liked baggy clothes. And up until like 2000, like Britney Spears, I don't know when that was, like 2004, you could have baggy clothes as a woman. That was but then it became like when skinny jeans hit and there was just like sexual. It's been like hard for me, man. It's like until Billie Eilish, it's been like, it took me forever just to get on skinny jeans. But I think that women just need to get more confidence in themselves and not look at, you know, because I just always tell this to my friends and myself. It's like it's a hard on. It's like who gives a shit? Like, men will fuck a cantaloupe. Men will fuck a hole in a bathroom, and like someone else is blowing them on the other side. They don't even know what the fuck it is. Like, please, it doesn't matter. You can still get laid. It's like not a problem.
I think it goes into just like the like body positivity, because it's like I feel like you can say like you don't care about like what other people think, but I feel like everyone secretly cares about what other people think.
Absolutely. I counted calories when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, know? I still count.
Yeah, I still do too. Yeah. But to a weird level. My mom was,
as a kid.
As a kid, weird. My mom was bulimic. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think women in particular always go through shit. And I think for me, you know, there's a certain weight, and I got beyond that weight. Like I'm basically like 125, 120 is good for me, and I was up to like 138 at one point. Some of it was muscle. Yeah. But some of it wasn't. And when I go to Vietnam, I always drop weight. And I came back and I was like, you know what? I want to try to maintain this weight in a healthy way. And I've been doing that because I think there is a certain weight that you're in, and it depends on what that weight is, that you just feel better about yourself. And I think I'm doing that now. And I think it's fine, just like when it gets beyond when you start eating like tissue paper and like
ice.
Yeah, but I had somebody in my high school after I graduated like died because they ate tissue. Oh. So like,
you're being serious
no,
about
I was
that.
serious. Oh, it sucks. It's just like the things women sometimes do to their bodies and men.
But I feel like it's more common in women because there's such like a higher standard for, like we were talking about the peacock and the lion. Like there's a higher standard for women to look better, which sucks. But
and I think it goes back to, I mean, we're going to politics again, but it's like we need to be in more positions of power because it's like a lot of times we look for men because men have more money. Right, this whole DEI thing, not trying to squash people that just want to come up in the world. So I think, you know, we need to be on our own, be independent, be okay with that as a culture, women, you know, and I think we are getting there. Yeah. But there's still this like
a lot of work to do.
A lot. Yeah. A lot.
Like I think people like, because we are getting better, but that doesn't mean that like
it's over.
It's like we think we've done this much, but really it's like this much. Yeah.
I have a question for you. It's going to sound weird, but I am curious. You said your partner let you do this with is like a lesbian. Has being friends with a lesbian changed your image of women or what women are?
Well, it's kind of funny because my gym partner is lesbian. Yeah. Well, mostly lesbian. Yeah. But
whatever. We're all cool.
But like I keep getting like since I've been working out with her, I keep getting this comment of like men being like, "Oh, I thought you two were dating," or "I thought you were also lesbian," because I dress a certain way at the gym. I'm not showing up with my ass out, and so I asked my gym partner. I was like, "Did you think that?" And she goes, "No."
Oh.
nobody cares. Like,
Yeah.
unless,
Men, I read that, I don't know if the stat is true, but when I was a kid, I remember reading this, like when I was in my 20s, that men think about sex 53 times in an hour.
Yeah, it's something about like,
So
I saw it on an episode of Love Island. It was like a trivia question.
Yeah.
But it was something like that. Yeah.
something like that, right? So it's like, I mean, I think that we can't understand that. So like everything they're looking at is some sort of sexualized way. So yeah, just don't even ignore that. But no, I was thinking about like, and it's different now because like the L word kind of changed lesbians too. So I don't even know if this is existing.
I like that movie though.
Yeah.
I brought that movie up with my gym partner, and she goes, "You seen that movie?" I was like, "Well, I am a film major."
Yeah, totally.
But I guess being like friends with her, like really good friends with her.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it necessarily like changed my view on anything, because like, I don't know, she's a regular person, but like, I think it's made me more confident in like. I used to be worried about like how you were saying with Tasha, like getting big, like I don't want to get big because I don't want to look masculine, but now it's like she like always flexes and stuff, and it's like it's kind of empowering, like because it's like knowing that I can lift stuff by myself.
It's pretty great, right? Yeah.
I am taking like judo classes. Knowing that I can throw a man to the ground makes me feel great.
I mean, I know it's going to sound fucked up, but we kind of have to know how to defend ourselves. We live in a culture where 1 in 3 women are sexually assaulted, you know? So we got to kind of know how to take care of yourself.
There's water right there.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's so wonderful. No, but I just feel like it's important, and it's also like, it's been denied. It's in all humans that we want to be strong, we want to be warriors. I mean, the Amazons were, you know.
Right.
But men fear that, I think, in a way. Not all men, obviously, but it's been something that has been like
emasculation.
Yeah. And the reason I brought that up is just because you're in a different world now where everybody's kind of queer. But when I was growing up in like the 90s, there was like a big distinction, and I remember being insecure of like, I didn't want my straight friends to ever think I was hitting on them. It was like a really big deal, like, oh God, like, do I, you know, and I don't have that anymore, but it's like, there was a big stigma about being gay, and I definitely wanted to make sure that like people knew I was like not hitting them. Yes. Yeah. So I think when we intermingle as women, it's cool because we kind of get to know each other and get to know, you know, it's like, I think it helps both of us.
I had that conversation with my gym partner because she even asked me that. She's like, "Do you ever feel like I hit on you?" I was like, "I don't care." I was like, "I kind of want you to hit on me." So we're actually going bar hopping next week, and she's like, you gotta help me hit on these girls.
He's gonna be the wingman.
Yeah. So I guess like sexuality in the gym, like I don't care. Yeah. Like, cause like how I said, like everyone's there to work out. Everyone's there, so it just doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. But it's interesting to know like how you get along with your gay friend, and what is, I wonder what gay men versus straight men are like. Do they, you know, is it easy for them? Do they like intermingle, or is it stratosphere? Like, I don't know.
I do have like my coworkers will work out at my gym, and one of my really good friends, like they all the coworkers came, and we do have like one gay dancer friend, and so I asked him like, you know, like how do you, cause you know when like guys dab each other up. But like they don't do that, and so I was like, "Oh, is that because he's like gay?" He's like, "Oh, like it just feels weird." And I was like, "Why? Why does it feel weird?"
I know.
But I don't know, man. I don't know.
53 times an hour. We don't know. You know? I think with, you know, and we know this. I mean, this is statistically true, but like gay bashing and stuff, it's because men are getting aroused by other men, so they just beat them up or kill them.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that too, right? Because it's like, I mean, have you ever studied Kinsey, the Kinsey scale?
I've heard.
Yeah, it's a good movie. You should check it out. But I forget what his first name is. But this guy did like a ton of tests on both animals and people sexually, and he came up with a scale. And the scale was basically like, I forget exactly, but let's say 1, you're totally heterosexual, and 7, you're totally homosexual, and that the average person is like a 5, you know, or 4. It's like we're pretty much all queer, and it's just like.
It's a spectrum.
It's a spectrum, and it's like what is nature and what is nurture, and what your, you know, what your genes are. Like both of my parents, my mom was like, she was in love with a woman at one time, like in the 60s, which is like not. And then my dad is like, I don't think he's ever had an experience with a man, but he's definitely a closet case. So it's like I didn't have a hope in hell. Because, you know what I mean? But it's like there's a combination of things. But I think Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Because I feel like you could argue, like, even, like, I would say I'm straight, but, like, I can notice that, like, oh, this is a really pretty girl. You can even argue that that's, like, some sort of level of attraction. Because you're acknowledging that.
Of course. Yeah. And I'm, like, gayer than anything. And I fucked around with the guy because I want to know what it was like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, we all have that. But I think that gym culture can open up things to kind of intermingle with people that you wouldn't normally.
Right. And I think that's the good part of it.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of shit part of, like, the judge. But, like, I think that's what makes, like, fitness culture, like, so different. I think because of, like, the struggle. Yeah. Like, everyone's struggling. But, like, I feel like once you're in there, like, nothing else matters.
No, it's true. Because when I first did it again, like I said, I was afraid because of, like, the Joe Rogans. I'm like, is this going to be, like, weird now with the Trump stuff? But it just feels like everybody kind of, like, nods at you now. It's like when you're there a lot, you're just kind of in this culture, and it's nice.
Like, everyone's judging you, but at the same time, like, don't care.
Yeah, because they're mainly judging. We're mainly judging ourselves.
Yeah,
like,
projecting.
Yeah. So it's, and I think there's a lot more helpful people than her. You know what I mean? I can grab somebody and be like, hey, can you spot me? Or people are cool. Yeah. I think so. But you know, there's always that level of toxicity too that can happen. You know. It's we're taking a lot of baggage to the gym. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
You know, and your background and what.
Because a lot of people go there to get away from things as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's a combo.
Yeah.
I think between like therapy and gym, it's.
Oh yeah, it is my therapy.
Yeah. No, totally.
Would you say like because you kind of mentioned before like calorie counting as a kid, would you say like you've gone through like episodes of like body dysmorphia?
I think so. Sure. Yeah. I think being thin was really important as a woman at one point, and then
especially like decades, like early 2000s, I feel like was when that was like Kim Kardashian.
Yep.
Like that era.
It's always been there though, because like I'm so much older than you, and like so I moved to New York City to go to NYU in 1990, and it's always there with women. It's always a thing with women, you know, that they have to be thin. Especially, it's a Western thing, right? Like Western men want thin women. If you go to Caribbean, sometimes they want women, but it's always the male gaze upon the woman, right? And I didn't have it as much because I'm gay, but it's still there, man. It's still, I always call it colonization of the mind.
Yeah.
So it's always there. But I think what happened was I got into my own crew when I got to New York, and I got with a bunch of lesbians, so it became where it didn't matter as much anymore. But I've always wanted to be strong, and I've always wanted to be fit.
Yeah. And then since you said like you're okay, since you're okay with like talking about it, could you like talk about your recovery like post like brain tumor?
Oh,
and,
sure.
Like, yeah, because I think that's really interesting.
Okay.
Because I've never like had like, well, obviously not a brain tumor, but like any sort of surgery or like major setback like that.
Yeah.
So like,
do you want me to talk a little before and after? Like,
yeah.
Okay. So
just briefly.
Yeah. So I've always been a gym rat. I always loved to go to the gym, and then like, I was feeling fine. And then I basically hit my head on a stand-up desk. I was acting in somebody's.
Oh, okay.
At grad school, and I whacked my head on a stand-up desk. The next day, I had a film festival to go to, where my film played, and I woke up with a really bad headache. Okay. I got there, I came back, but then it got worse. It was like a migraine. I haven't had a migraine in years. And then the next day, I couldn't see properly out of one eye.
Oh wow.
So I looked it up, and it was like brain tumor, and I was like, oh fuck. You know, but then you don't want to go by that. My mom died of a brain tumor, so it was like she had lung cancer that went to her brain. So that was 5 years before. So I was like, so I was a little freaked out. And I went immediately to the doctor. They sent me to a neurologist, this horrible neurologist who basically, I got the MRI, and it said, the radiologist said, we need a dedicated MRI of a pituitary. I see a sac on the pituitary gland. And she was like, no, you have menopause. Let's just get you Botox in the head and you'll be fine. Then she went on maternity leave, and I didn't know what to do. And it's like I couldn't go to the gym anymore. I was too weak. I would do a shoot, and I would get weak. I did qigong. I did all this kind of like other type of working out because like I said, I always like to do that for myself. And then after like 6 months, I was like, I can't live like this. And my PCP was like, let's just do a dedicated MRI of the pituitary. Like, okay. I'll never forget it. I was like doing laundry, and I got the email. It said I have a craniopharyngioma, and all I heard was "oma," and I was like, I have to go dry the clothes, and I ran, and Tasha was like looking, and she's like, it's okay, it's benign. And then I had the surgery, and then it was about like 2 months maybe recovery. It's a mind-bending thing with the brain. It was a quick surgery, and I was out in 4 days, but then it was just like recovering after that.
Right.
But I think the gym really helped me, like after that, you know, because I had no energy, but then when I got on the pills, like I had energy again. I was on hydrocortisone and levothyroxine. I was supposed to be on both of those for life, but I got rid of the hydrocortisone. I'm doing okay. So that was nice, knock on wood. But yeah, I think that always helped me feel better. Like, and it still does. Like going to the gym, it made me stronger, but it also like, I don't just go to the gym now to like look a certain way. I go to the gym for my mental health.
Right, yeah.
You know, whether I swim or whether I lift, it really, like when I walk out of there, I feel a million times better than I do when I
Right, because there's a science behind it. It's like the endorphins and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so it was a godsend, and that's kind of when we spent the money and we went to Chelsea Piers, because it was just like this really good gym with a pool and everything. And so yeah, I think there's a big mind-body connection in our world, and I think that a lot of people, and myself sometimes too, we try to block it out, and you see the people that are just gaming or they're just on there and they're not moving around. But when you move your body, you really get better in the head.
Yeah.
Whether it's a study, whether it's like just go on life and
Or
you know
walk a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, just little things. That's why like therapists always say like to just go for a walk or go out and for lunch just by yourself somewhere. Yeah. Like just moving around.
Moving around. You know, something happened at this is kind of interesting just from a physical point of view, but I have always had really bad knees. Like really hard to get up the stairs. Like when Tasha first met me, I was 40. She was 25. She was 15 years younger, and I was always like hard to get upstairs and stuff. And then after the surgery, I was like full of morphine, and they couldn't release me until I could walk up and down stairs. And she said she saw me bound up and down the stairs, and I remember I had no pain, and it felt great. And she's like, "We have to tape your knees." And when she taped my knees, then it was fine. So then we worked on that. So yeah, now I can actually like hike and stuff. So you know. I want to say that to people too listening. Like, it doesn't matter what age you are. You can always do better in life when you're working out or when you're doing form correctly and stuff.
Yeah.
You can get a lot more mileage out of the car.
Yeah, that's true.
It's important.
It's important to get out.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that is a good place to stop. And on a positive note. Yeah. Positive note.
Positive note.
Yeah.
Yes.
We ended on a positive note.
No, it's great. I feel like I could talk about this forever.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
But yeah, so thank you for joining. See you on the next one.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. That was awesome.